be guided by your wisdom.
Mr. Beluska.
Here.
Mr. Brooks.
Here.
Ms. Gilbert. Mr. Merritt.
Here.
And Mr. Barrett.
Here.
Also in attendance tonight are Controller Darren Snyder, Administrator Ted Wampole, Assistant City Attorney Maureen Collins, Human Resources Director Nicole Ferentz, Director of Operations Wilkes-Barre, Director of Planning and Zoning Will Harris, Finance Director Brett Kittrick, Deputy Fire Chief Alan Clappett, Police Chief Marcelo Indaki, Associate Director of Health Services, Delphine Porter, Director of OCD, Kurt Sauer, and Capital Projects Program Manager Joyce Zikowski. Assistant City Clerk Catherine Payne, and Administrative Assistant Lisa Sanfilippo. Good evening. Before Council addresses the formal agenda tonight, Councilman Tony Brooks would like to make a statement. Mr. Brooks?
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. I'd like to thank my fellow members of City Council for the opportunity to make a brief statement as we begin tonight's meeting. It is my intention that this statement will be recorded in the minutes, official minutes, and I will also be providing a copy to be posted to the city's website. This statement is as follows. Recently, I have been asked by the Oosterhout Free Library to serve on its board of directors. As funding to the library is provided by the city's Community Development Block Grant Program, I am subject to federal regulations related to elected officials serving on boards of entities who receive such funding. One of these regulations which requires me that I make a public disclosure of the nature of any potential conflicts of interest which may arise from my service on the board. This is why I'm making this statement this evening. In general, a conflict of interest may arise when elected officials vote on awarding funding to an organization in which they serve as a member of the board of directors. However, under certain circumstances, elected officials can seek an exception to the conflict of interest provision. In my case, as a volunteer, I received no benefit, financial or otherwise. Matter of fact, it cost me money to serve on the board of the directors of the Oosterhout Library. Accordingly, I am following the necessary procedures to formally request an exemption from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Thank you.
Okay, next is a special announcement tonight by Councilwoman Beth Gilbert. Beth?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that the Junior City Council is officially reorganized. I was on the Junior City Council when I was in high school, and if I weren't on the Junior City Council, there's no way I would be sitting up here today. It piqued my interest in local government and made me want to become involved in my community. So with that being said, I want to introduce the members of the Junior City Council. If you want to come forward, we'll do your swearing in. You can come through the gate. Through the gate.
Would you like to come over here behind the flag? Okay, next is one at a time. First is Asia Charles. Asia, I'm going to take the oath and your responsibility. Sure. And do you have any questions? You, Asia, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of this Commonwealth, the Charter and ordinances of the City of Wilkes-Barre, and that you will discharge your duties and obligations as a junior member of the City Council with fidelity. Very good. Congratulations. Guadalupe. Canaan. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of this Commonwealth, the Charter and ordinances of the City of Wilkes-Barre, and that you will discharge your duties and obligations as a junior member of City Council and Development?
I do.
Congratulations. do so. No? Okay. Robert Blank. Robert, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of this Commonwealth, the Charter and ordinances of the City of Wilkes-Barre, and that you will discharge your duties and obligations as a junior member of City Council with fidelity? I do. Very good. Last but not least, Melissa Rush. Melissa, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of this Commonwealth, the Charter and ordinances of the City of Wilkes-Barre, and that you will discharge your duties and obligations as a junior member of the City Council with fidelity?
I do.
Okay, that concludes the swearing-in ceremony. We can move on to business of council.
Hey Jim, did they get full health care? I don't think so, Bob.
Okay, continuing with normal business of council. First of all, does anyone from the public wish to comment on legislation pending before council tonight?
They do.
Okay. Mr. Kalinowski is first.
Yeah, Bob Kolobowski. On this ordinance, I guess, this discrimination ordinance, can you add on to that when a citizen comes here and speaks and refers to a council person as stupid, or we're expressing our feelings however we feel? Can I bring up about Mr. Barrett?
You brought a lot of that, can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it on now?
There's a button there. Is it on?
Hey, I ain't a sounds person.
It's usually a flip switch.
Yeah, there is.
There it is.
Testing. Bob Kolobowski. What I want to say is, with this ordinance, can we add on to that? That when like citizens will call, like when I say, Mr. Barrett, you're stupid, or I bring up about making $200,000 a year.
Your Kolobowski would be stick to the
I-
ordinance.
See, there you go. You're discriminating. What I'm trying to do.
Salary is not relevant.
See, Bill, I'm trying to make my point, now you cut me off.
Make
Now
your
you-
point. Get to the point.
All right, and also, when we're bringing issues up, like we did with all the corruption that was in the police station, with the last administration, so we're not discriminated against, just like I was. And I'm not doing this to be smart, I'm doing this to make a point. Can you add on to cover everything? As you recall, in 2010, I couldn't come in anymore as a finer gentleman. I met with you and met with the other council and told you what was going on with the corruption in the police force, with the liquor being pumped out of the chief's office. And what did you do when I told you what was going on?
I think we've gone way off.
No.
Get to the ordinance.
But I'm trying to,
You're talking about the police department.
what I'm trying to say, so the citizens here understand, what I'm saying is,
To the point.
all right, will you stop interrupting me?
I am only interrupting you because you're going off someplace.
Well, that's your opinion. I'm here to talk. You can't interrupt me.
I can't.
I understand. You're not being
Go
nice.
ahead, finish.
Right, I'm trying to finish. And the points I'm trying to say is, when I brought this stuff out about over the police station, what did you do? You discriminated against me. You just put an ordinance into effect to put me out of business. And that's exactly what you did. And you tried to cut my prices. When I was in 1987, when I was charging $75 to do my job, I was up to $150. You just tried to cut me by $50. That's discrimination. And I don't want you to get mad. What I'm saying is, how about we add all this stuff in so when people come here, they're not thrown out, drug out in chairs, slandered, stuff you did to Mark Robbins and Frank Sor. Am I disturbing you, Jim?
Not at all.
Okay, I'm just saying, can we add that on here?
Consider it, Bob. Thank you.
That's, I mean, I don't have more time? So you're cutting me off. You're
Make your
discriminating.
point.
You're discriminating. It's 3 minutes and 5 seconds, so you're discriminating.
Thank you, Bob. Anyone else on pending legislation?
Oh, do they get health care, the kids?
Sam Joy. I'm a little bit confused from what I read in the paper. Ms. Gilbert and Mr. Brooks were the prime movers behind this resolution. I was under the impression that it was, the anti-discrimination ordinance, that there was going to be a commission established to ensure that, I thought that it was just limited to sexual discrimination, for transgender, homosexuals, etc. Can somebody explain to me, is this, according to this thing here, you're only urging, the resolution says you're going to urge the legislature, etc., but is there going to be a commission established to hear grievances by people who think they're discriminating against or not? Am I reading the wrong?
There's two different ones, it's kind of confusing the way. The
I'm
ordinance,
sorry.
yeah, file of council number 10 of 2016 is the Human Relations Commission establishment. That's
Oh,
the
there's
one
going
you're
to be a
referring
commission
to.
established.
Right, and then the resolution is just, it's a non-binding resolution that I'm proposing to
Well, this is
urge
separate.
the state
This
legislature.
resolution is separate then from the commission.
Right.
Okay, well, regarding the commission that is going to be established, assuming this thing is passed, which I guess it is, this commission that I read in the paper, maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, this commission is not going to have any power to actually enforce any so-called, any alleged discrimination on the part of sexual orientation. Is that correct? So if the commission has no, if it's just like a law with no teeth in it, so if the commission is not going to have any power to enforce discrimination, then this is just really lip service to this thing. Is that correct? I mean, I don't want to sound like a homophobe here.
No,
I'm not. I may be playing devil's advocate, but to me, it seems like this thing is really senseless because if you're not going to be able to enforce it, why do it?
Well, this will provide some sort of legal recourse for anyone who does feel like they're being discriminated against on the basis of sex, age, marital status. There's, it goes on the list. So they will have their time to be heard in front of the Human Relations Commission. And the reason why it is so important for the state to pass something like this is to give municipalities a little more leeway in enforcing an ordinance like this. So that's why it's so critically important to have the state also pass an anti-discrimination.
Well, one more question, because this is coming off my time, which I don't think it should be. You're the solicitor now, Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Have you possibly thought about any, no, I know other municipalities have passed such an ordinance and established commissions like this, right? But have you thought about or have you investigated any legal ramifications of this? For instance, if people, there have been instances where people feel on the basis, and I hate, this is a bad thing, I think, but they have claimed on the basis of their religion that they don't want to serve or they don't want to cater to a person of sexual orientation, a transgender, so forth. It's against their religion. Then there's possibly they could sue the city. Has that been investigated, or is that just? I mean, are there legal ramifications here that the city could get sued if this thing is enforced? Or haven't you investigated that?
I personally have not investigated or researched that particular issue, no.
So somebody, doesn't that possibility exist or not? I mean, you don't think it does, then, right? I mean, if a person claims, religious parameters, for not catering to, let's say, for not renting to a person, a transgender person or something, right? If that person feels that his or her religion prevents him, you know what I'm saying? Because there was that person in Iowa who refused to, Iowa or somewhere in the Midwest, who refused to cater to such a person and was removed from her job. But, I don't know if she's finally sued or not. So I just think that, again, I'm not trying to come off as a homophobe here, but if there's, legally, that if the city's on the hook here, could get sued, and that this is something that should be investigated, don't you think, or not?
Well, the point of it is the city isn't necessarily taking a.
Has the city, have you investigated this to the point, has the city ever encountered had anybody ever come to you or complain about any discrimination on sexual orientation in this city?
Yes, yes,
Oh, they have?
yes, but,
So that's why the need for this ordinance is made available.
yes, but also the purpose of the ordinance is it isn't, any single member of council stating their opinion on anything. It's the fact that, any member of the LGBT community is going to have equal protection under law. And that's, that goes beyond religious preferences and.
Do I have time for one more, just one more quick
And
question?
then we're not going back and forth, yes, finish.
I do have time for one. On the other matter, my recommendation on that, I think council ought to table this thing to more investigation on the legal ramifications. I think it's a good thing in theory, but, assuming that the Commonwealth or the federal government has to come through here, it's going to supersede the thing anyway. I just think it should be tabled until maybe 30 or 60 days to see what happens on the state or the national level. Not that it's a bad thing. The legal ramifications have to be investigated. And on this matter of the Wilkes University Engineering Initiative project, I just have a general question. $3 million is a lot of money. Now, I realize this is coming out of a special program, but can anybody tell me, is this just, does it have to be a school that applies? Wilkes is applying for this thing specifically, so the city is just like a conduit for this? I mean, the city isn't providing any money for this, correct?
Let me give you a quick answer to that. And on the RCAPs, they're not for profit.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it just being Wilkes University. Or it's not just for colleges, they're educational institutions.
We have hosted many of these before for different entities.
Correct.
Some are successful.
Businesses have it, yeah, and it doesn't cost us anything. No cost to the city.
This program is only available for schools for the program. It's for businesses, or any for-profit business.
It could be under certain circumstances, I believe, yes.
There's a long list of qualifications for it, but yeah.
They're not our qualifications, it's a process, they're attached to us. Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Anyone else on pending legislation?
Evening, Mr. Andy Burrow, Founding Executive Director of South Sussex Parents and Monitoring Serving All. I want to support the anti-discrimination. As you know, my life has been dedicated to civil rights. Anytime we open the doors that allows everyone to be involved, it makes our community stronger. And I'm glad the gentleman behind me brought those issues up. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the questions you will be asked over and over again. Bills like this bring our community together, but there'll be others who will challenge you just on the merit of every question. And I commend you, Mr. Brooks, opening your personal story and letting people know what it is to live in a world where people shun you because you're differently. I think this takes a great step in our community. It shows us that we're leading the way. We're setting what the standards should be for other communities. As our great nation is going through many changes now, more than ever before, we need to stand tall. Too often the question is, why does one choose to love someone who's different? I answer why so many people go unloved and the suicide rate for young people or just beyond the numbers. So again, I commend the City Council to bring this up and to discussing it. But believe me, the process is just starting. Then the challenge will be many. But believe me, you have more people supporting you. Once again, when we open the doors to all, it opens the door to everyone else. By you opening this door to LGBT, other people now come and say, I have other issues. And now they will be able to speak up. When you allow other people to stay in our community instead of being outside, we make our community stronger. Once again, I thank you, Beth, for bringing this up, Tony, for sharing the story. And for the members of the mayor's office, who I know many of you personally, and you agree with this. I want to commend the city mayor, who now has their website in Spanish. Again, I know you had heat for that, and you will. But thank you. Reaching out to many people who want to be part of this community and proving over and over again they want to be part, and they are here. So again, thank you, and I support this resolution. Thank you.
Anyone else on pending legislation?
Good evening, Jim Burden, Wilkes-Barre, about this resolution. Okay, you have it in there about, everybody's gender, about race, color, everything, what they do in their personal life. I don't care about all that. Okay, you have everything in there. The only one thing that you don't have in there, we have kids out there, now they're grown-ups, that are, when they were 18 years old, 19 years old, they made mistakes in their life. Okay? They try to go get a job. They make one mistake in their life, and they're paying for it now as an adult. They can't get jobs. They can't get a good job. They're working for pennies, right? Where they went to school, they got trades, they got everything, but they can't get a good job. But you're worried, about everything. The city won't even hire them. They grew up in this city. The city won't hire them. Now, I know about 6 kids that can't even get a job in our city that made one mistake in their life. And you just won't hire them because of that one mistake. Okay. And, why can't they be on there on this agenda, right? Not just homosexuals and blacks and this, that, and everything else. Hey, I don't care what like I said. What you do behind your doors, you do. I was in the Marine Corps, right? We didn't care what anybody did behind their doors. If they come out in the public, if they came out and they said something publicly because they wanted out of the Corps, then we care. Other than that, we don't care. I mean, but give these kids a chance. Put it in there that you're going to start giving kids a chance to make one mistake in their life, that you're going to give them a chance. Give a 10-year span. If they haven't done anything in 10 years, this is what they're doing in other states. 10 years, boom. They're clean, 10 years, give them a chance. How about doing something like that for our kids? Why don't you look into something like that? And maybe they can go places too.
If I can comment, I don't see if maybe you want to, but I totally agree with you. It's kind of a parallel and separate. The expungement process to me is very antiquated. And I totally agree with you. People make mistakes. And that's what we're talking about with the drug paraphernalia, turning that down into an ordinance. And the same thing is being considered small amounts of marijuana possession for the very same reasons you're speaking about. They shouldn't be penalized for the rest of their lives or for decades. And I know that there are movements in other areas too as it comes to criminal offenses as well. And it is sad that somebody's life is destroyed for making a mistake. Because there's no one here that has not made a mistake at some point in their life, which would do something differently, get a second chance. So I totally agree with you. I don't know if this is where it should be, but I think the expungement process really needs to be looked at.
Yeah, I mean, even at the city level, it's expunged.
We don't have the power to expunge offenses, but certainly there are.
I mean, we're already doing it, like you said, for, if somebody gets caught with a small amount, you're making it, you're staying in the city for the county doesn't get the money. You're keeping it in the city. So let's try to work on that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Anyone else on pending legislation?
I'm not from Wilkes-Barre. Can I speak?
Certainly.
Thank you. So my name is Ted Martin. I'm the Executive Director of Equality Pennsylvania. We're the statewide LGBT advocacy organization. I want to thank you for giving me this moment. I didn't come here expecting to speak. I want to thank everyone on the council and certainly everyone behind me who I know has fought long and hard for this ordinance. I've been in this job for 6 years now. And in that time, 16 other cities and boroughs and municipalities have passed ordinances. It was 37th if you choose to pass this evening. The message all those places have sent, and the message all those places have come to me with immediately is we want to make sure we're a place that welcomes people. Make sure that we are a place that welcomes people on our main street to shop and live and move in. And so clearly what I'm saying to you this evening is that this choice that you're making is something that I akin to as great leadership. The state legislature has been playing with this issue for 13 years now. 13 years now, that's 5 legislative sessions and 4 governors. You are taking the issue by the horns this evening and being real leaders and saying that Wilkes-Barre wants to make sure people are treated fairly, wants to make sure people are treated equally and are welcome. And I think that that speaks well, truly of you. In all those places that have passed ordinances, all the bad things that people predict have not come to pass. In fact, one of the primary responsibilities of the Human Relations Commission is to educate the public so that you can bring people together by talking about not only LGBT issues, but all the other protected classes and all the other things in your community. Wouldn't you rather have people talking than going to court? Wouldn't you rather have local people solving local issues? That's the point of this ordinance. So I commend you for thinking of that. And I commend you for thinking of the people here in the community to talk about these ways to get to solutions much quicker. It's local people solving local problems. And I thank you for leadership that we don't find in Harrisburg. So this evening, once again, I want to commend all of you, and I want to commend all of the folks who have worked so hard, I know, behind me to make sure that Wilkes-Barre joins the ranks of the cities in Pennsylvania who have come forward and shown some leadership. So thank you, and thank you to everyone here. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for being here. Anyone else on pending legislation?
I'm speaking on behalf of Evelyn Advocacy, who is ill and couldn't make it this evening. I'm sorry I can't be here tonight to
And
speak
you
out.
are, I'm sorry.
Kathleen Smith of Wilkes-Barre.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I can't be here tonight to speak out on behalf of the LGBT community because I'm ill. I have asked this to be read on my behalf. I was present at this council meeting in 1994, advocating for the same rights for the LGBT community. At that time, there was only one person on council who voted in favor. It was a crushing defeat to all that were involved. Now fast forward to 2016. We are asking for the same equal rights again. They are long overdue. We aren't talking about any special rights. We are talking about protecting people where they are employed and where they live. These are essential rights for everyone. We never know what it's like unless we walk in someone else's shoes. There has been a long history of discrimination, and it's time that the city of Wilkes-Barre moves forward and becomes just as progressive as Pittston and Scranton. Our city should be a welcoming place for all people. I ask council members to please consider to vote yes, to not only protect my family members and friends who live and work in Wilkes-Barre. Thank you, Emily Council.
And anyone else on pending?
John Tosky. Okay, I'd like to talk about this, the grant for Wilkes. I just have an opinion. I always said strongly that I think that they should be paying us, more in taxes. We should be getting more money out of the colleges. I don't think that we should help them out until they are paying more to the city. Like these are the kind of things that we can hold against the colleges where we might be able to use that as a way to get more taxes out of them, because they're not paying taxes, and we continue to do grants and other things to help them get money when they're not helping the city. I understand they're bringing students here and things like that, but that doesn't buy the city more police officers or pay more, it doesn't pay more people, it doesn't get parks clean, it doesn't get cities clean. I think you guys should vote no on this and try to make a deal with the schools where they actually pay the city a little bit more money than what they do for the PA, the police and fire department. I'm not sure what that's called, but I urge you guys to vote no on that. Thank you.
Pending legislation? Anyone else?
May I speak? I used to live in Plains, but I no longer live in Plains. Good evening, my name is Christine Zuba. I grew up in Plains. I graduated from Coughlin and from Penn State, and I now live in Philadelphia near South Jersey, in South Jersey. I'm in the area this week helping my 91-year-old mom who is recovering from a recent fall, and I happened to pick up a newspaper last night and learned of this meeting. Those of us who grew up in the 60s and 70s had grandparents and great-grandparents who came to this country and the Wyoming Valley in search of opportunity. They were people of various ethnicities, religions, and languages. Finding a place to live and a place to work were difficult. They were ridiculed and discriminated against for who they were. Many of us in the LGBT community live in fear. We fear loss of jobs and loss of homes just because of who we are. I can understand those who may be against this ordinance, perhaps for religious or other reasons, other personal reasons. I myself am Catholic, and I continue to practice my faith, as do many of us in the LGBT community. I simply ask those who may be against this ordinance to consider how it would feel to come home and find all your belongings in front of your house or apartment. Or perhaps go into work one morning and discover you no longer have a job, just because of who you are. We ask for the same respect and opportunity as everyone else, that same respect and opportunity our ancestors looked for, nothing more and nothing less. I thank you for consideration of this ordinance, and I urge you to pass this important legislation. Thank you.
Anyone else have any legislation? That is Dale Cole. Dale, did you want to say that?
Good evening, Council. My name is Dale Caldwell, I usually go by D, it's how most people know me. I live on Charles Street, Wilkes-Barre. I'm going to keep this short because I believe my stance on the issue is known. I spoke last month at last month's meeting. If not, I would just like to reiterate that I am fully in support of amending the human relations policy to extend protections and the protections that are granted by it to include sexual orientation and gender identity among many of the other very valid groups and individuals who were not previously covered. Last month's unanimous vote made me proud of this city and the leadership of this city. I just wanted to express my gratitude and my heartfelt wish that we might see a repeat of that tonight. The people of this city, current and future generations, will benefit greatly from these extensions. I have no doubt that we will look back and question why these rights weren't granted sooner, or why they were so hard won, just as we look back on the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s and wonder why good people such as Dr. King, or why any civil rights leader who fought for justice and equality had to pay so dear a price for freedom, when it should have been guaranteed under the idea that all people are created equal with certain inalienable rights. The truth is, it's not always this way. We march, we protest, and we do what we must, because lest we forget, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance, and we, the people, must continue to work towards that more perfect union. Tonight, I urge that we do the same and make Wilkes-Barre a more equal place to visit, live, and work in. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else on any
Okay, now we'll make the formal business on the agenda. First is the consent agenda resolutions. Motion second, vote completed.
Mr. Mayor? Ms. Miller?
Mr. Blusco.
Yes.
Mr. Brooks.
Yes.
Ms. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mr. Merrick.
Yes.
And Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next is the consent agenda.
Excuse me. I turned in one of these, my name wasn't called out.
We will get to you, sir.
Okay. Next is the consent agenda ordinances. Motion second and vote.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Belusco?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Ms. Gilbert?
Yes.
Mr. Merrick?
Yes.
And Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Motion passes also.
Let's go anything this evening? Oh, you got one more. You won't take it.
Just have one question for Mr. Kicker. I know you're working with the actuaries on our 2017 contribution to the MO. Where are we at with that? Are we making progress?
Yeah,
Is there a chance of lowering it?
Yeah, I've spoken to him a few times. I hope to know something by next week. But yeah, we're trying to work on getting it reduced. but it's likely, it's still gonna be an increase.
Pardon? So it'd be an
Still gonna be an increase, but we're working on getting it reduced, yeah. Like I said, I'll probably have
You'll
more
let us
information.
know.
Yeah, I'll probably have more information for you next week on it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Royce?
Nothing to report, thank you.
Congratulations, the library will be very fortunate honored. Ms. Gilbert?
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to thank council for supporting me on that ordinance. It really means a lot. I've only been on council for 9 months, but it's the proudest moment for me so far. Also, I just want to, I put out a press release and also on social media regarding my community roundtable, July 28th at 7 p.m. It'll be at Wilkes University and Stark Learning Center for anyone who wants to attend. It's about September 28th at 7 p.m. And we'll be discussing community policing and race in Wilkes-Barre. I think it's important to be proactive on these issues. Lastly, I just want to thank Ted and the administration for cleaning up 312 East Northampton Street. It looks a lot better than it did, and that property was really becoming a thorn in my side, so I'm happy that it's finally cleaned up. And that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor?
I just want to thank Butch and the health department. I'm forever hammering those guys, trying to keep the city as best as we could keep it. And I know it seems like we fall further and further behind, but without their help, I mean, my God, we'd be living in a toilet bowl. Thank you, Butch, and the health department. We appreciate it. I know there's a lot more work in front of us, but just gotta keep plugging away. Thanks again. That's all.
And on that, I know that they are doing an outstanding job, and I know Mr. Belisco had helped with streamlining the process a little bit when it comes to problem properties. I'm hoping that that's working better. And I know there was some talk about, among council and the administration, about looking at quality of life citations and maybe even streamlining it even further, because we're inundated with grass and trash. So anything that we can do to support that move, we're all in favor of making things a little bit easier for everybody in the Congress. Thank you for all you do as well. And that's all that I have. Okay. Now we go to public presentation. Mr. John Magnet. What do we get to?
I apologize, I heard you call a lady by name. My name is John Magna, I live in the parts and sections of Wilkes-Barre. And on a paper here, I use language I'm demanding. The reason I was demanding a copy of this settlement is because I asked and asked and asked for it. Now, this I'm going to read. City of Wilkes-Barre Department of Planning and Zoning violation notice. This was at 231 Middle Street, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, 18705. Responsible party is TMR Holding LLC, CO, Mr. John R. Randolph, 28 Carnegie Street, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. They had the zip code drop. Date of the report, January 16, 2015. It has come to the attention that the subject property is being used or may be in a condition which, contrary to the provisions of the Wilkes-Barre City zoning ordinance as amended, please be advised that sections 301 and 132.1 of the Wilkes-Barre City zoning ordinance require that you secure the zoning permit and comply with the provisions of the zoning ordinance related to the use of the subject property. The subject property described above is located in R1 zoning district. Specifically, it has been determined that the subject property is in violation of provisions of the zoning ordinance in the following manner. You are charged with illegally operating automotive and renting yard as defined in the city of Wilkes-Barre zoning. File of council number 18 of the year 2012. Be advised that you are also charged with illegally operating automobile sales and towing company with the outside Wilkes-Barre storage area within a R1 single-family residential zoning district. The city zoning office has figured zoning auto repair filed on December 30th, 2011. Zoning permit number 11238. I'm going to skip through this a little bit. He said he had plans to conduct repairs inside the building. When the automobiles are not being worked or serviced, the vehicles will be stored inside of the buildings. There's a lot more here. I know I'm boring you. Okay, all it says here, all vehicles stored outside must be removed from the premises of 31 Minnow Street. Then it goes down here with Backer Streets and everything else. And this is signed by William C. Harris, Director of Planning and Zoning Office. The reason I used demanding is because I tried time and time again to find it was settled. 2 weeks ago, a reporter, Jerry Lynott, told me that he had talked to Mr. Harris, and Mr. Harris said it had been settled. I don't believe it's been settled. And if it has been settled, why can't I get a written copy of it? There are also other violations in another one, but we'll do that another time. Since this violation has been posted, it has been 606 days. That means the man would have had to pay $303,000 today. If it hasn't been properly done, I expect you to go after that money. Thank you. That's all I want to say. Have any questions? Mr. Harris. Go ahead.
Okay. This is the response. It's not true. Mr. Magna was in my office Friday, this past Friday. No discussion whatsoever about this issue. He was very upset that he could not get a second handicap parking space. So we only allow one space per household. And being that he was unhappy, he threatened, I guess, as always, the badmouth me. This has been going on since 2014. And I have his first letter here, dated 2014, about his refusal. I refused him a second handicap parking space in 2014. But this past Friday, there was no discussion. Any kind of document that he wanted, the decision of the zoning hearing board, the copy of the verbatim minutes were given to him, given to council, given to the chairman of the zoning hearing board. We had health inspectors out there. We met with the mayor, and here's a copy of the document that you're asking for, which is the zoning hearing board decision in response to that violation notice.
Well, why wouldn't you give it to me before?
All right. We're not going to do that. Sorry.
You didn't ask for it. You got a copy of the minutes. How can you say I never gave you documents? You got a copy of the verbatim minutes. And you even marked it up and showed me what you disagreed with.
And this is the zoning board, Madam. Mr. Harris is not the zoning board, the entire zoning board. So if you're not not satisfied with what you have there, I would recommend that you go back to the zoning board, the entire zoning board, and express your concerns to them. They have authority and jurisdiction over that
Should
matter.
I speak now?
No, we're not gonna go back and forth.
No, I'm just saying, should I speak? Are you done, finished?
You technically are, too, go ahead real quick, but just to read.
Well, okay. First of all, a letter was sent to Charles at the head of the zoning board with no response. Bill, I have all the letters and to the mayor's office. The city here in Wilkes-Barre cannot, or will not take this law. Next time, I will be here with the state.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Jim Wall?
Jim Walsh, Wilkes-Barre City. Members of council, ladies and gentlemen, the back is better than the front. It's been some time since I've been attending a council meeting because of some health problems. And during that time, the voters against increasing the time limit for people to speak at these council meetings. They asked you to increase it to 7 minutes as opposed to 5. I read in the paper where you voted against it. And the reason I want to know, I'm going to ask each of you, why did you vote the way you did? Was it unanimous, and was it behind closed doors? And if so, why behind closed doors? What was your reason, Mr. Merritt, for voting against this, the increase?
Mr. Wallace, finish your presentation.
What's that?
Finish your presentation. If you choose to answer, you will.
Well, I don't want this time taken from my time.
Well, that's why I want
Their response.
your time.
But I believe we're entitled to know how and why they voted the way they did. Not a blanket vote.
You can answer when you're finished. Go ahead.
I've been surveying for quite some time the blighted properties in our neighborhood. I've spent a lot of time and some money trying to expose blighted properties in this community. And to me, it's shameful. And nothing's being done about it. I have here proof positive. These are photos of dilapidated, blighted properties in the Rolling Hill Health section. Additional copies of blighted property. Documenting information, not word of mouth, documented. My two sons and I have spent hours across the street from where I live in the old vacant sanitary laundry that's been overrun with high grass and weeds and whatnot for years. I've been after them, falling on deaf ears. So my two sons and I went over and we cleaned a good portion of it up. And they came out last week and with a ride-on mower, they cut the grass. And while they were doing it, this picture here I show them in the process of doing it, cutting the grass. I said, don't forget to cut along the fence and up the fence where the vines are growing, what have you. They didn't do it. My sons and I went over and did some more. Today I went over and spent 3 hours in the back of that lot, pulling down weeds and grass and overgrowth. That's not my responsibility. Why don't they do the job right? I spoke to the mayor about it, he said, well, maybe they didn't have the right tools. Well, don't they come equipped for that, those kind of situations? What a stupid answer. Another thing I'd like to bring up, and you know my passion for the American flag. You've all read about, and I'm not going to mention his name or anything else of that, about this millionaire athlete who would not stand for our national anthem. Out of respect for our nation and for our flag. A flag that I served my country honorably for in World War II during the Battle of the Bulge. I pride myself in our country and our flag. I love it. And I would have died for it. And I'm shameful of this city. Private citizens collected money several years ago to purchase flags to be displayed throughout this city. And this year, hardly any flags are up. Why? Because they don't care. They're being given the same treatment, people are being given the same treatment that this athlete is doing. Insulting this God-loving country.
Well, I'm going to try and answer your concerns. We've gone a little bit over here. Maybe a little bit over here. We talked about a vote for extending the amount of time to speak. That there was no vote.
What was that? I can't hear.
There was no vote, to my recollection, on extending the amount of time for public presentations. It was discussed, however, it never came for a vote, so Mr. Meritor, not in fact, we officially voted on changing that. I'm not saying it's off the radar screen, but it's something that hasn't come to a vote, at least not yet. And we share your frustrations, and you probably listened to the conversation before about blighted properties. If we get 20 calls a week, it's a good week. Well, we get more than that, dealing with properties. And we just mentioned we are overwhelmed with those, as you mentioned, private properties. They're private properties that are overgrown. In some cases, they're not, but for the most part, like the lot across from you, that is not properly taken care of. And we understand that. And we do as much as we can, even streamlining the process to go after these people. They have the responsibility. And you're right, you're 100% right. It's up to them to do it. And unfortunately, we have to intervene, and oftentimes we have to send city workers out to do that when they go and bill them, put a lien against the property to get them taken care of. So you should not have to live next to a property like that, and no one should have to live next to a blighted property. Devalues the neighborhoods, it's unsightly and it's unhealthy. And our health department is on top of those, and unfortunately, there are more than them sometimes than we can handle. Actually, your photos are very good, because that's generally what we do. We will send a photo with an attachment as an email, visit the property, no matter wherever it may be, and asking them to address it, and they do it in very short order. But the first step is to let the property owner know that they have to do something about it, and if they don't, we will, and they can be cited, and they often are cited for it. So it is an ongoing problem. We're trying to streamline it as much as we can. We're working on finding a better way to do it, but ultimately, it's up to the property owner, and we oftentimes have to take drastic steps to do that. And I agree with you about standing for the national anthem. I couldn't agree with you more. We salute your service and the service of all the veterans, and I personally agree with you. There are others that may not, and saying that they have the right to do whatever they want, but that's just my personal opinion. But we salute you for your service, all the veterans, and hopefully you can come back and join us soon. We appreciate the information. If you have information about property that's not being addressed, let one of us know. Let the mayor's office know. Call 821-1111, and there's somebody that already take your call. The mayor's office.
Mr. Barrett, I've called a number of times, and other neighbors in my neighborhood have called multiple times, and nothing's done. How many times do we have to call before you get the word?
Let one of us know. I don't know if anybody's taking your calls, but the property that we're speaking about, the stand, if we can take a look up there, that'd be great. Just okay.
Mr. Washington, we met yesterday. You said the property across the river was owned by the city. The city workers were paid.
Well, I took Mr. Brooks to visit my neighborhood yesterday, and I showed some of the blighted properties. Now, this didn't happen overnight or over the last years. This has been for years this is going on. It's going on too long.
It is going on. But they will take a look at it.
So our butch, he made a big pile of grass, we can easily pick up. I just want to commend you, Mr. Walsh, so much for being so neighborly. And also, you decorated the whole neighborhood with flags, and I want to commend you for that as well.
This reflects in our neighborhood, this reflects in our properties.
Bill, why don't you have the police drag them out like they do me?
And it shouldn't be.
Well, that's what you're gonna should do, like you do it to me.
My son and I, a Marine Corps veteran, for the last several weeks, we put up in our neighborhood some 25 American flags throughout the neighborhood, past among private properties, to display the flag. And here in our city, we purchase flags for them and they won't put them up. Then you hear criticism about this athletes not standing for the national anthem, and our city won't put the flags up there where they're given. They're just as shameful. I can't stand it.
Thank you. We do it the flags, we do have a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe not on every pole, but we do have them.
And some of the cases, the flags are displayed appropriately.
If there's something that's inappropriate, let us know.
They're not put up properly.
I'm sure we can address that.
And I am deeply
Mr. Wallace, Mr. Wallace.
Wait a second.
No, we're way over here, okay?
Okay, that's why I said it's about the extended time.
30 seconds, and that's it, okay?
I am deeply concerned about the future of this nation. Deeply concerned. There's nights I lay in bed and tears roll down my eyes when I see what is happening to our country. And I think the American people better wake up, and that includes Wilkes-Barre City.
Thank you, sir. Deputy McLean?
Oh, good. This is the perfect time to segue into exactly what he was just talking about. In February, I proposed the quality of Deputy McLean, Wilkes-Barre. In February, I proposed the quality of life ordinance. What's going on? Where are we? Because I have to tell you, I'm deeply concerned about this city, as are so many other people in this room. There are crime issues, there are disrespect issues. I'm on the other end of phone calls every single day for people who are coming to the city from New York and New Jersey. Nobody's working, and it's really a mess. I am a responsible landlord. No one has to tell me to take care of my properties on behalf of being a good steward in my neighborhood, which, by the way, I've been for many, many years, and was my family before me. I see people who buy properties in this city who are treated with the utmost respect because nothing, they're allowed to get away with murder, decreasing my property values, bringing crime into my neighborhood. This has got to stop. The quality of life ordinance is working beautifully in Scranton. I encouraged you the last time I stood here to reach out to Carl Graziano, who is the chief of police in Scranton, who I've spoken to numerous times. I suggest that you get on it and get her done. Now, I'd like to know what's going on. Right across the board, where is it?
I can answer that. I've been working with Maureen, our assistant city solicitor, and Tim Henry on the quality of life ordinance. And we're just trying to see how it fits into Wilkes-Barre's current ordinance. But it is, I mean, we are actively working on it, even though we don't say it, out loud at every meeting.
Because I'm going to be here until it gets done.
No, I don't like it.
Because, again, it's a slap in the face to me. And another thing that I want all of you to take into consideration is that there are a handful of us left who take pride in being excellent citizens, excellent stewards of our neighborhood. Your uncle was a prince, Joyce. You know that, right? Oh, my God. My God. The city was a different city when he was calling the shots. And it's just going to hell in a handbag, and it's got to stop immediately. There should not be a green light given to scumbags who destroy our neighborhoods. Meanwhile, great citizens are penalized for going above and beyond the call of duty. Not nice people, not nice. That's all I have to say.
Roger Kelly?
Council. My name is Roger Kelly. I live at 83 Beach Street in Wilkes-Barre. I just don't understand how code enforcement thinks it's okay for me and my neighbors to live next to a home that's been condemned more times than I can count, where the landlord living there with no running water, no electricity, with 20-some cats that defecate on our property and destroy our homes. How many times do we have to call code enforcement? Well, I did. Code enforcement said I'd be out. Oh, they never came, so I went to the health department. Talked to a gentleman there. He came out. Why is the landlord still living there? Why aren't code enforcement or the health department checking to make sure he's not there and these cats are gone? My wife can't live around cats. She's allergic to them. For 2 months, my wife has been deathly sick and has gone into the hospital because of this. We're citizens. We pay our taxes. Tell me, why isn't anything being done about this? He's been living in there since 2012. We've been calling code enforcement, animal control. Nobody's coming out. Why? Can anybody answer my question? Why should citizens that pay our taxes, that don't get in trouble, that work hard to buy a home, which is the most expensive thing they're going to buy, is being destroyed by people that don't care? Can any of you guys answer my questions, why this is happening and why I have to live by it?
Anybody familiar with that property? Beach? On Beach Street?
Yes, it's 81 Beach and 79 Beach.
Goose Island.
Huh?
Not Goose Island.
Yeah, this is in Goose Island. I mean, there was the health department was out here this week on Monday. Why is the guy still there? Why is he still living there?
I'm sure Mr. Wamble will check into that.
See me after, so I can get your name and your phone number.
Okay.
We'll have somebody up there tomorrow.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys put the signs there Monday. Why is he still on the property, still staying there? And it says that if he's on the property, he can be arrested. The cops can't do anything. These guys, his hands are tied because they can't bust down the door to go in and get him.
If it's posted, they shouldn't be there. She's going out to send the police up there now.
Okay.
You can't get any faster than that.
He's there now, but we're still living with it. Are we supposed to clean up the feces off of our property when this guy only lives from me to the table?
I'm sure the health department will follow up and investigate whether he's still there or not.
They're going up now.
I mean, he was there right before I came. He's staying there. There's no running water. Where is he going to the bathroom? Where is he taking showers? I mean, for 4 years? It's taken 4 years before I got sick and tired of it, went to the health department, and had a guy come out. Why wasn't code enforcement out there?
I can't answer that.
We called them so many times that we couldn't
Let's
count.
move forward from right now. The police are sending somebody there, and the health department are continuing their investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Eric Biasi?
Good evening. My name is
is Eric Bieski. I live on 543 South Franklin Street. I would like to first commend and congratulate our future leaders here. As you can tell from this meeting, it is not something that is easy, but it is something that we need in this country, and especially on a local level. This is where it starts. This is what impacts your life locally. So kudos and congratulations to all of you. As for the council, good evening. I would like to formally introduce to council a resolution supporting the American Anti-Corruption Act. Some of you may question the significance of this resolution. To me, this resolution symbolizes something that we are in desperate need of in this country: hope. Firstly, our youth are being strapped with so much student loan debt that they have lost hope in ever owning a home due to the toll this immense debt has had on their credit scores and financial situations. This lack of hope also extends to the American worker, who feels like they can no longer adequately provide for their families. According to a study conducted by the nonpartisan Pew Research Center, 56% of Americans said their family's income was falling behind the cost of living. The rich are getting richer, while more and more of us are barely staying above the poverty line. The diminishing hope has even spilled over into the Americans' view of their healthcare system. Currently, 63% of Americans cannot cover the cost of an emergency room visit. Doctors are no longer accepting new patients, forcing too many Americans to turn to walk-in clinics to receive care. We have fewer employers offering health care, and at the same time, the plans that are offered have increasingly high deductibles. While the majority of Americans are struggling to afford health care, the nation's 4 largest health insurance companies all reported substantial revenue increases in their most recent earnings report. Finally, the elderly are losing hope that they will be able to afford a lifestyle that allows them to maintain their dignity as they continue to age. The National Council on Aging reports that over 25 million seniors are currently living at or below 250% of the federal poverty level. 1/3 of senior households has no money left over or is in debt each month after meeting essential living expenses. In 2014 alone, 3 million households with a senior experienced food insecurity. You may be wondering why I've chosen to speak about these issues and what is their relevance. The relevance is each one of these hope-diminishing issues, circumstances has directly impacted my life, along with the lives of too many of my friends and Wilkes-Barre residents I know. I carry a large amount of student loan debt, where I struggle some months to make the $200 a month payment. Every professional job I've held after graduating college has afforded me a life of living paycheck to paycheck, praying I don't fall sick, with pay raises that haven't kept pace with the cost of living. I currently have monthly installment payments resulting from an unforeseen visit to a Geisinger emergency room, which was over a year ago. I help take care of my grandmother and great uncle. It's extremely hard on me to see them struggle until their next Social Security check comes in, especially considering the amount of unconditional love and support they have provided me throughout my life. I want to make one thing perfectly clear. Despite everything I've just stated, I still have hope. Hope for my city, hope for my country, and hope for my state. The one realization that has become clear to me is that you cannot idly sit by with the intention of cultivating hope. You must go out and actively plant the seeds so they can eventually grow and flourish. This resolution is my way of planting a small seed of hope with the intention of continuing to fight for a cause I believe in. One day turning this seed into something that can be harvested and shared with the citizens of Wilkes-Barre and Luzerne County. Please help me spread a little hope at a time when many of us need it the most. Recently, my organization, Represent Northeastern Pennsylvania, we proposed a resolution to Luzerne County Council. They deliberated on it, they have discussed it, and they are bringing it to a vote at the next meeting. We had public comments from a few of the council members openly supporting the resolution. I would like to leave you with one thought. It's from our second president, John Adams, speaking about the legislative branch. The legislative branch has the obligation to paint the exact portrait of the people at large. It should think, feel, reason, and act like them. This American anti-corruption legislation is supported nonpartisanly by 78% of Republicans and 74% of Democrats. I thank you for your time. I have copies for each member of the resolution of the American Anti-Corruption Act as well. So thank you.
Real quick, I did, after you appeared before the last meeting, I did take a look at the legislation on their website, and I think it's great legislation, so, if our solicitors can take a look at that.
Yeah, there's
They
a
can
copy
figure out
for them as well.
how it works for us, but I'm completely behind it. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time and have a great day. Thank you.
John Hopkins?
John Toski, Allen Lane. First question directed to Mr. Barrett, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to know, for the one strike ordinance, who gave you guys the legal advice that that was going to hold up? Because I'd like to know who gave the legal advice, because that ended up getting sued. I'd also like to know what's the exact number, if there is a number right now, how much we're going to have to pay out for that lawsuit. All right. I'd like to talk about Martin Luther King Day. It's September right now. We're getting close to January again, and it's looking like we're going to have another Martin Luther King Day where the city hall is still open and still treated like another day. I would like to see the city do something before Martin Luther King Day where City Hall is closed. I don't think it's acceptable. I really think that it needs to be done. It's more than enough time. We're behind every other city in the country pretty much, where everybody else has Martin Luther King Day and we don't. I don't know, if I was a city employee and I've been working for the city 10, 15, 20 years, I'd be embarrassed because my city doesn't have Martin Luther King Day as a holiday, and I've been there and I didn't do anything about it. So if you guys, whoever's been here for 10, 15, 20 years, you guys hold some responsibility in this, nothing ever being done about this. So please, I'd like to see you guys take a stand and get something done this year. If council, you guys have enough power where 3 years could say, I won't pass a budget unless Martin Luther King Day is off and it's involved in there. I'd really like to see the council take that strong of a stand where 3 people would say, we're not going to pass a budget unless Martin Luther King Day is in there, unless that day is off and City Hall's closed. And if by chance that doesn't happen, could the city at least not have a presentation then for Martin Luther King Day? Because you guys are going to have City Hall open. Please don't have a presentation if you guys are not going to have this place closed. Thank you.
You would ask about one strike ordinance. I'll respond to that. That came out of frustration that we have all experienced with drug houses. You are well aware of it. And even more so when the landlords, property owners, I don't want to use the term landlord, property owner, knew or should have known that there were issues there but chose to ignore. And even more so when the city did act on a problem property and arrested tenants, and finding out that the tenants were back into that property before the end of the shift, before the police officers went home. That neighborhood did not have a chance to restore itself to civility. It continued on, the turmoil continued on and on with the problem person right back into the drug house within hours.
Yeah, but that's not my question. I just want to know who gave you legal advice?
The city solicitor.
Vinsco or?
City solicitor reviewed the ordinance, okay, that's the answer to your question.
I know, but Vinsco
Presented
is.
it to council, and council adopted it as an ordinance. Okay, now, getting back to getting sued, I've been in this for a while prior to coming here. If you do nothing, you're not going to get sued. Sometimes you have to go out and try to make a difference, and sometimes another body may disagree with you and can even sue you for just about anything and everything, and they do. And that's why we're fortunate to have the laws as we do here to represent us. I have no regrets about that ordinance. I think that ordinance was well intended. Unfortunately, some property owners didn't quite look at it that way and felt that their rights to allow a drug house to continue were being affected by the city. And they ended up just telling them how to run their property. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to say more about it. I answered your questions. That was the intent of the ordinance, and it was approved by the city attorneys at that particular time.
Vinsco didn't write the law, then. He didn't put the ordinance together, did he?
You would have to ask him that.
Okay, could you tell me who did put the ordinance?
I don't know. You would have
Vinsco.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, so that's the history of it from my perspective. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Martin Luther King Day, anybody?
I think that's still contracts.
Yeah.
It's the end of the year, and we won't have any idea. I think he's using that as a tool, though. I think that's going to be in the mix of all the 3 contracts that have to be done by the end of the year.
I urge you guys to make that happen. I urge you guys don't have a ceremony if you don't make it happen. I think that would be the right thing to do. Don't celebrate it if you guys aren't going to celebrate it at City Hall.
Okay, thank you. Jim Burton? Evening again.
We meet again, guys. Okay. Jim Burton, Taft Street, Wilkes-Barre. Right off the bat, I'm going to say, Beth, thank you very much for your assistance in getting Taft Street tore down. It's nice. I sat out on my front porch. I drank a cup of coffee. No varmints. No house. Looks nice. Thanks again. Okay. That young lady has done more in her 9 months on city council than a lot of guys that sat before her and that are still sitting here. I've been after that house for many years. Nobody done anything except for her helping me. Thank you, Beth. Okay, now on to new business. Okay. I work for the school district, okay? As a crossing guard. Kids from GAR coming down that street, they walk right down the middle of Grant Street, right down the middle of the road, Chief, okay? This is where your guys come in. They walk right down the middle of the road, throwing the F-bomb around like it's nobody's business, right? Fighting with each other. There's 30 of them out there fighting. By the time I get 911, they're gone, right? They walk right across the street with cars there, and they say, they'll stop for me, right? They don't listen to nobody, right? And the other thing is, why can't we get a city ordinance, right? This, right? How do you like to see people walking around, adults with their pants hanging down like this, right? And they're walking down the street like that, like they got a load of crap in their pants. Okay, New York made that an ordinance. Right? They get fined for that in Philadelphia, New York, and all your big cities. Why can't we have that as an ordinance in the city of Wilkes-Barre, where they're walking down the street and they're being held up by their private sections? Right? Now this is getting ridiculous. You see kids in Heights Elementary starting to do it. Now they're doing it. All the kids in GAR, all the boys in GAR are walking down the street with their pants hanging down like that. They're almost at their knees. This is getting ridiculous. That's indecent exposure. We should start fining them for being indecent exposure. Make an ordinance. Put it in the paper that we're going to start fining them. $25 first time, $50 the second time, $100 the third time. We got to do something about it. It's ridiculous. Next thing you're going to see is railroad tracks on around the way. Come on. We have to do something. Because you keep letting them do it. They're all moving in. They come in. They think they know. They're telling people to go drop dead. As they're crossing the streets, they're telling people beeping a horn on them. Go yourself. Please. Send somebody up to these corners. Put them in a private car. Let them come up there and see. Let them be dressed in street clothes and watch what they're doing. They're jaywalking right across the street. They don't care. They're in a pack of 30. They walk right across the streets. Okay? The cars will stop for me. If they don't, we'll sue. That's their attitude. Something needs to be done.
Mr. Berger, can I ask, is that right by the school?
No, it's down on the corner of East Northampton and Grant. They do it at Sherman Street.
So they went to Grant intermittently?
Yeah, right at the corner of East Northampton and Grant.
Can you give me predominant times?
They come through about 2:45.
What about in the morning, or is it just mainly?
It's after school. It's on the way coming home from
So
school.
it's on Wednesday, okay.
Right.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, the way they.
And mainly Grant Street.
Mainly Grant, because the Sherman Street side, that's blocked off, so they can't get out to school that way, and they come up that way after school.
Check it out for you.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
I don't know what I can do about the pants here, we have to look into that.
Yeah, that's,
I agree with you though.
you know, something has to be done about that, you know? I mean, you know, you're out there and you're watching them, and, you know, they're walking down to their knees, you know? It's disgusting, you know? I mean, even my kid, you know, if I see him with his gun, tighten that belt up, pull him up, you know? I mean, we did that when we were kids, you know, we get cracked right in the head. We get a frying pan up against our head, you know? So, all right, thank you.
Get ready. Get ready. Bobby, I got my 9mm out in the car.
I don't.
You need next one, maybe.
All right. Todd Kalabowski. Bill, Mr. Walsh's question about extra time, and to remind you of your exact quote, and I won't use the dirty word, your exact quote in the hallway was, "That's all we gotta do is extend time. We'll be here all effing night." And you said it in the hallway. Now, I think you owe Mr. Walsh and the people here, I don't see nothing wrong with going back and forth with people, because that's what this is supposed to be, a council meeting, to talk about issues. And I would like you to answer not only to me, but also to Mr. Walsh, why we can't have extra time. That's what I want to know. Also, I want you to start an investigation. One of your council members is allegedly shacked up in Schaefertown. Now, I want to find out if that's true, and if it is, I want the person's resignation off council. You can't be shacked up in Schaefertown when we're over here suffering in this hellhole. So that's the information I got. I don't know if it's true, but I will give you the name. I don't want to make an accusation publicly, but somebody is shacked up allegedly in Schaefertown, and that's wrong. I got to hear gunshots. I got to see people that get shot. I got to listen to the sirens. Let them, everybody, be a part of it. Another thing I want to bring up, I see Mr. Wampel and Mr. Kittrick again. The podium, I guess, was there. And I'm trying to be tough, but we're paying them, when they're talking, stand up and address the people. To sit there like there's some kind of swamis or something, it's not fair. Also, I want council to write a letter to the thief mayor and liar and find out what counseling is Attorney John Moses giving him. I want a list of what he's counseling him on. He's an advisor. And if he's advising him, then I want her fired, or her hours cut down, or Tim Henry out here. Because what do we need these people for if he's such a brain for us? What is he doing? How's he counseling the mayor? His advisor, and it was in the paper. He's advising him. Why is an outside attorney who has nothing to do with the city advising this thief and liar mayor? How is this possible? I want to know what he's advising him on. That's what I want to know. What's he advising on? Besides taking him and whining and dining him at the baseball game, which I think is unethical. I couldn't do it. You got to be arrested for bribery. Another thing I want to bring up to you is the LAG towing. There's nowhere in that. There's nowhere in the plea agreement, and I would ask counsel to check with your attorney to send a letter to get restitution to all the people that Jerry DeSoy, Tom Layton, Bob Hughes, and the rest of the corrupt people over there who accepted the bribes, and make sure all these people that were robbed of their cars and their money, and make sure restitution is made. I'm going to attend it. I sent a letter to the judge. But if the council would get behind it, it would be a lot better. Because nobody so far, I wrote a letter, I still don't hear back from them. I'm like, are these people kidding me? No restitution? No restitution? Now, we're going to talk about the one-strike ordinance. I want you to tell your junior council members and your citizens, what citizen came down here and said to you, do not do it. You're going to get a suit. I told you Attorney Vinsko was a nitwit. I proved it in federal court. We didn't even have to have a trial. The judge's exact terms was, this was outrageous, what they did to me. And I came here, and how nice did I talk? I said to you, we're going to get sued. This could be a good tool. I asked the nitwit, Attorney Vinsco, and I believe I asked you too, Mr. Barrett, as I did other counsels. If I went to say him, how do I know if you recommended to here, hire him, he's a junior member, or not hire him, put him in the apartment? How did you know he was a drug dealer, if he was? How did I know? And that's what I told him. You're having implied knowledge. And it's you and Mr. Merritt that voted on it. You knew, I warned you as other people did. And now we're sued. You had to do something. You did something that's costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars. And from what I understand, because of the nitwit, Mr. Vinsco, there may be other people now who are going to jump on because you admitted fault. And I believe, and I know you won't do it because you're not going to give up this cushy political position. You should resign, and so should you. As I stood here and told you what was going on at the police station and in this building, and I warned you along with other people. And I'll finish on this because I guess I'm over time. What I proved you about this, how I could prove discrimination, the lady that was up here in green, you let her read from some other person to make a statement. When Frank Sorek, the president of the Taxpayers Association, sent me down with a prepared statement, you, Mr. Barrett, would not let me talk, but yet you let this lady talk tonight. And that's why I talk loud, why I get frustrated. And that's the problem. I came here all these years and told the truth. And you know, just so you understand, and I showed you, I held the door open for the thief, Leo Galazic, to go in and plead guilty, facing 36 years. And they didn't do that because they liked me. Now please, answer Mr. Walsh's question about why we can't have 7 minutes. It used to be 10. I'm over, Jim, I know, don't have a blood pressure fit. So just, if you could answer that, why can't we have 7 minutes? Why can't we go back and forth with our counsel? I'm sorry I talk loud, I'm just frustrated.
I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything, but I'm going to play something. First of all, maybe you stepped out of the room when we were talking about the timing with Mr. Walsh. You didn't know the answers that were said. We're not going to go back and forth, so don't say anything, but I'm going to tell you. It is not off the radar. It's in discussion. And it may ultimately come to a vote, okay? I don't know if you missed that part, but I think it was said there a few minutes ago. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Those words that you said, there is no one in this room that has ever heard me utter profanity. I do not do it.
I heard.
No, you did not.
I heard it. You said it. We're not going to be here all fucking night. That's what you said. Don't tell me you didn't say it.
You're out. You're out.
What?
For real.
Oh, oh. But you said it too, Billy Boy. $200,000 a year. You're not going to.
There's children in this room. Young adults in here. You're out.
There's children. Well, how do you think I felt when you said it, Mr. $200,000 a year? You said the F word, you liar. All you are is a liar. $200,000 a year. That's why these kids can't get a job, because you sucked up the job.
Motion adjourned. Oh, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry. Forgive me, I got a little bit of thinking with the moment.
Just real quick before we adjourn, I just wanted to let everyone know, back earlier this year, we passed a resolution to have the council meetings videotaped and posted online. And as of last month's meeting, they are being posted online, so you can see them on the city website, along with the minutes of meetings as well.
And I apologize for the way you heard.
Yes, Judy,
It's not usually this bad. Certainly not.
I told you we need to like dip our toes in one first.
Not that way, but I'm just on my fire. Well, have a motion to adjourn?